What's going on, peoples? Welcome back to Taking Crazy Pills. This video, we're going to talk about the Joe Budden podcast, where Mark Lamont Hill tries to explain the Mamdani tax proposal for real estate. As a person who voted for Mamdani, this kind of interested me. Let's react to this, see what's going on here.
Last thing, Mamdani has put forward some new tax proposals.
Okay, let's hear 'em.
Which I'm excited about. The first one is one that he has direct control over, right? He wants to raise the tax rate for people who make over $1 million.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. It affects, I'm gonna pull up the exact numbers and exact percentage, but I believe it's from 3% to 5%, the tax rate for people in New York City.
See, Mark Lamont Hill is not a person who makes little money. This guy makes a lot of money, and he just said he's okay with tax hikes. Okay.
And the idea, he wants to raise the city income tax rate to 5.88% from 3.88% for the roughly 34,000 households that earn more than $1 million per year. He said that a family earning $1 million should pay an additional $20,000 in taxes, the equivalent of, it's a 51% increase. And then the other thing is he's trying to advocate for at the state level is an increase in what some people call the death tax, which is more appropriately just a, what do you call it? A
hereditary thing, or
yeah. When you give somebody
inheritance
tax. Thank you. Yes, an inheritance tax, which would raise the rates pretty high for people who are bequeathing things to people. So if you have a house and you were to give it to your kid, you're going to pay a higher tax rate on it.
I don't love that.
I don't like that.
I'm cool with the other
Some
one,
of the
but
dumbest shit you ever heard in your life.
People that don't make nowhere near $1 million don't love it. They don't love it. You heard what he said. There's 8 million people in New York City. This affects 30,000 families. Are you crazy? You don't love it. You don't love it. Statistically, this is better for you. See, this is what I'm saying. People vote against their own interests all the time.
First off, we have a really wide broadcast.
Yeah.
But we got to think about, we talking about New York
State.
Right? And so when you start thinking about people in New York, especially in New York City proper, so that's the 5 boroughs or anything remotely close, what he's doing, he's taking the rates from 16%. His proposed new rate is 50%. That's a different level of a jump.
For the inheritance tax?
Yes.
The inheritance
one.
tax.
And then the
is there
rate
a cap, pardon me for interrupting, is there a cap on
7 million, I believe, is
No. The old start of the inheritance tax used to be $7 million.
That's where you start getting
That's
taxed
where you start
at.
to get taxed.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm not mad at that
He
then.
wants to drop it to $750,000.
Oh, that's a lot.
So if you start taxing New Yorkers at $750,000, for those of us that live in the area, there you can't find a house in the 5 boroughs for $750,000.
You can't find a 1-bedroom apartment.
That's my point. And so now you're starting to impose way more I don't want to call them sanctions, but way more stress on the poor and the middle class that you ran your campaign on uplifting.
Yeah.
Right? So, and this is what I want people to understand. Yo, when you start talking about tax.
Okay. The average New York salary, I just Googled this. The average New York salary is 80 grand, give or take, right? That's the average. Obviously, there's people that make less. There's people that make more. It's New York City. But that's the average, right? Okay, $80,000, right? The comfortability ratio in New York City, basically this is a statistic. You must make $150,000 to live comfortably in New York City. You must, okay? But the average is 80. So that means that the majority of New York City are struggling. And they definitely don't have $750,000 in net worth. So none of that would be affecting those people, the large majority of New York City. Like I said, 8 million people in the city, this only affects 30,000 families. Let's say every family that I'm talking about is a 4-person family, right? The average, wife, 2 kids, right? Okay, so what's that? 30 times 4, 3, 6, 9, 12. We talking about 120,000 people compared to 8 million. Oh, but we don't like that. We don't like that. Why don't you like that? Statistically, this is better for you. They get taxed and you get public services for it. Your little girl's playground gets upgraded. Your street gets potholes filled. Oh yeah, and let's not act like Mamdani is not doing what he's supposed to be doing with that money. He's been filling potholes for like 2 weeks already. He cleaned up one of the worst blizzards we ever had in New York City. Cleaned it up like this. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing with that money that he's taking, that he's so-called stealing from us. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's the only politician who actually takes your money and does something good with it. But of course, you complaining about the 30,000 families. Oh no, what are they going to do, those 30,000 families? Fuck the 8 million. Oh my God.
Taxing the billionaires and taxing the rich, especially when it comes to inheritance and all that other shit. The term trust fund babies comes from somewhere. They don't pay taxes like that. They put all of the assets and they put all of their money in a trust. And when you die, your trust don't get taxed. So now you putting all this pressure on motherfuckers that don't have the information or don't have the resources to carry out their inheritance that way. And a lot of people, especially in our communities, black and brown, we come up off of insurance policies. We come up off of real estate inheritance, et cetera, et cetera. That's how you gain a leg in the quote unquote wealth gap.
Right.
So now if I inherit a house that's $1 million and I got to pay $500K on $1 million, I ain't inherit. If my parents bought this house for $500,000 when I was 10.
Yeah, that's
now it's nuts.
Yeah.
And so
for New York.
Oh, I hate this mentality, yo. I really hate this mentality. I just try to collect myself right now. Okay, what did he say? Hold on, I gotta rewind that because that was ridiculous.
$100K on $1 million, I ain't inherit. If my parents bought this house for $500,000 when I was 10.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, if your parents bought a house in, at least, because my man is at least 30 something years old, right? So when he was 10, that's like 20, 25 years, give or take, right? 25 years ago with 500 grand, you could have got yourself something nice in New York City 20 years ago. That piece of property would absolutely not be $1 million now. See, this is what I'm saying. He fixes numbers. This guy Ish is a real funny dude. It's just a real funny dude because he manipulates numbers and he makes up numbers to justify what he's saying, and he does it all the time because Mark catches him on that shit all the time, right? So right now he's bullshitting because first of all, if you got a house for $500,000 25 years ago, that house is at least worth $2 million right now, man. And I don't even care where in New York City it is, even in the Bronx, the Upper Bronx, the South Bronx, it don't even matter. You 4 times your money easy, your grandfather, okay? So you stand to withstand a lot more. Now, let's say, because you just manipulated the shit out of those numbers, but let's say you only inherited the 500,000. It was $1 million, whatever the property was, it was $1 million, and now you get 500,000, right? You get 500,000, cool. Did you have $500,000 yesterday? Did you have $500,000 yesterday? No, you didn't. So what do you mean you ain't got shit? From $0 to $500,000 is something. I don't know what you're talking about when you say things like that. Like, whoa. Like, that's crazy, bro.
And now it's nuts.
Yeah.
And so
for New York City,
I think it's counterproductive, again, based on what he said he was going to do for the middle class and the poor. It don't even, to propose it to me is asinine. Whether it gets voted on or not, just to propose that means you, in my opinion, you have a disconnect on what's going on out here.
I'm not mad at the 3 to the 5 for the other thing, but the inheritance at $750 is crazy to me,
bro. Even $1 million.
So you don't think people should be taxed at all?
No, they should, but the threshold, especially for New Yorkers, should be higher. Yeah,
like we again, it's an industry specific thing. I want somebody in Cleveland to be like, yo, these is stupid, or somebody in Indiana to say we stupid.
Yeah, we talking about New York.
Yeah,
you literally
when
can't get a 1-bedroom condo in New York for $750,000.
And people don't understand that world.
This is a New Yorker talking to you, just so you know.
Why? So again, that's why I'm prefacing it with, yo, dog, we talking about New Yorkers. So if you're talking about people that are struggling in the Bronx, people that are struggling in Queens, people that are struggling in Brooklyn, your family passes away, they leave you this asset that may be worth $2 million. Y'all gonna take $1 million of it?
If you're struggling in New York City, that means you're struggling. That means you have no net worth, bro. You just went from 0 to $1 million. Only rich people bring this argument up. No poor person is going to give a shit. Are you telling me that I'm going to get $1 million scot-free? Yeah, you take $1 million, but technically it doesn't matter because, like, I just got this money. This is basically free money. Like, let's say every lottery winner, what do they do when they win the lottery? 99% of the time, they take the lump sum, even though you get taxed the most out of the lump sum. Why do you think they do that? Because they don't care about being taxed on free money. I'd rather have the lump sum and get taxed whatever you're going to tax me. It don't matter. Like, it's free money. You complain about getting taxed on free money.
Like, get the out of here. That shit don't make no sense. And again, they keep trying to pawn it off as
I don't think that's what's happening. That's not what the policy is.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
Yeah, so I'm trying to pull up the exact policy. But first of all, it's on estates, right?
Estate.
So it's not just on houses. It's on like the estate. So if I have just to be clear,
No.
So if I have an estate of $5 million, the idea is if I'm leaving that to you, you have to pay taxes on it. It doesn't mean that if it's because the estate might be valued at $1 million. If I leave you a house for $1 million, I haven't even sold the house. I don't have to cough up $500,000.
Okay,
but I do have to pay taxes on part of it, and the reason. Exact number so we can get into exactly what it looks like on the ground because I didn't know this. I only knew the first part of the story that I brought up. Ish brought this to us this morning, so I didn't get a chance to read into it beforehand. But it's important to know that the top rate is 50%. Not all of it is 50%.
Okay.
So if I inherit $750,000, I wouldn't be paying 50%. The person who inherits $7 million and above would be getting the 50%. But I haven't seen a schedule to know what the steps are. So I don't know whether it's 20%, whether it's 30%, but it will go up. The exemption is no longer up to $7 million. I think that's important to note. But to my point, again, like I don't think it's a contradiction to say I'm for poor people or I'm for, even the middle class and saying I'm going to raise the tax rate on people who are inheriting stuff.
Exactly.
I get the idea of wanting to pass wealth on to your children. I get the idea of wanting to share those things. I get it. But I'm not convinced, even in New York, that somebody who inherits, say, a $3 million property right now or a $3 million estate, whatever it is, shouldn't have to pay some taxes if they're getting $3 million.
You have to pay taxes already.
But New York is one of the few states that sort of, there's a federal taxes you pay on it. But the rate is fairly in New York is fairly like nothing when you have the exemption.
That's relative. Number one, like I've gone through this.
It's not relative. Let me put it differently. It's literally 0 up to 7.
They arguing because they know Mark Lamont is not 100% sure on what he's saying. That's the only reason why they're saying it. That's the only reason why they even doubting what he's saying because he doesn't sound like he's sure about what he's saying.
Right now, up to $7 million.
I've gone through this, right? So it depends.
Oh shit, Ish went through this. He went through this. Again, he bought property in New York City. He went through this.
I know New Jersey law and I know Maryland laws. In New Jersey, if somebody passes away and they leave their estate, it depends on your relationship to the person.
Right.
So if you are the wife, the spouse, or the kids, then you don't pay a tax on property. Right? If you're a sibling, if you're somebody else, then you pay a tax. However, when we start to, again, talk about, and this is where it gets funny, because when you start throwing these numbers out, like Mark threw a number out like $5 million, $10 million. If I have $10 million of assets, that means I also have $10 million of information where I'm going to protect those assets when it's time for me to pass away to where my family's not going to pay taxes at all. That's one key point is the information of the rich. They always find a loophole to escape paying taxes.
That's a fact.
So it's going to disproportionately affect us or the people.
How? Again, he's not being honest in his argument. It's 30,000 families this affects. Only 30,000 families this affects. So let's say if every single one of those families doesn't pay the new tax, that doesn't affect us at all. Besides those 30,000 families, that doesn't affect us at all. We still going to be in the same shitty situation we in. If they do pay it, we in a better situation. You see how that works?
People that are in a different tax bracket that don't have that information and don't have a trust or don't have somebody to have set up their estate situations. Again, in our community, sometimes don't even have life insurance. So if you are a family that you didn't come up off a life insurance policy, that house that your mother left you or that house that your father left you, that might be your only thing that you could build wealth off of. And so now to tax that in a way that to some might seem minimal, to most might not seem minimal, it is disheartening to me.
I got to read more.
I got to read more to know the sketch. To me, the devil's in the details.
It's just greed, bro. It's just a greedy motherfucker. He's just greedy, bro. You getting free money. You being upset about being taxed from free money, bro. You didn't earn that money. It doesn't matter if it came from your father, your mother. You didn't earn it. That's not yours. That's where the term trust fund baby comes from. Because you're a leech. Because people who think this way are leeches. I don't want to get taxed on money that's given to me, that I didn't work for in the slightest. Even though everybody in the free world gets their money taxed for things they do work for. But I get to not pay taxes for something that's given to me? How does that work out? Like, this is just straight up greed.
I agree with you that the rich circumvent the rules. But to me, that's the argument for making better rules.
Exactly. You don't like those loopholes? Get rid of them. Oh, but chill. But you've been through this before. You did the real estate deal. That's why you don't want to get rid of them, right? You want to use the argument, but you know it's because you don't want to get rid of those rules.
But that's the argument that they push when they act as if it's in fairness. Like, yo, we going to tax all these.
I think this isn't fairness.
We're going to tax all these billionaires. No, you're not.
Yeah, they already are exempt. They know how to play the game.
Right.
So the ones you're going to tax are the
people that don't know how to play the game.
And they don't know how to play the game.
But I think that's why this policy could be useful. Again, the devil's going to be in the details. But also, when I think about the people who are the most affected, people like us, we don't, for example, poor black people, we don't inherit houses.
Exactly.
We don't.
It's not true, Mark. Especially now, we are starting to be more on the side of inheriting houses.
We are disproportionately inheriting debt. We're disproportionately inheriting houses that aren't paid off.
Yeah.
We're inherently
doesn't matter. Still equity in the house. That's still
look. And now he's and now he's going against his own argument. Now there's equity in the house, but before they were struggling.
a value. That's still a net value.
What I'm saying is that black income. There's difference, as you know, difference between income and wealth. And what I'm saying is, black people are disproportionately we're underrepresented on the wealth side.
Zero. Dead last.
Right. So that's all I'm saying. And so it's not like.
So black people won't be affected by it for the most part. So why are you trying to make this thing like all New Yorkers are going to be affected by this when we're not? That's the reason why we voted for Mamdani and you didn't, Ish. Because everybody knows that you didn't vote for Mamdani, did you? Like, come on, bro.
Like, the most vulnerable people in New York City are the ones who are about to get hit hard because they're inheriting these houses that they don't have to pay extra taxes on. I'm saying that the people who are often getting around the rules are more likely to get ensnared with this policy based on the way it's been laid out than the people who we're trying to protect. That's what I'm saying. It's not. My auntie's not inheriting a $5 million house.
You keep going to $5 million. Stay at $1 million.
Okay,
stay at 1.5.
Okay.
And that lessens his argument even more. The less money I inherit, the less money I gotta pay in taxes, which the less I give a fuck.
New York City.
Sure,
So the minimal house, you could get a piece of
two-bedroom apartment.
All right, cool.
Right, think about it. If I'm getting $1 million, right? Let's say it's 50%. If I'm getting $1 million and I'm getting 500,000, okay, yeah, that's a big hit, but I'm getting 500,000. Now, if I was inheriting 10 million and then they taking 5 million, I would give more of a fuck about that. You see how that works? The less money I inherit, the less I give a fuck about taxes.
Cool. So now you could get a piece of house in New York City, and no disrespect to Queens. Let's say Queens or Brooklyn, right? You could get a house that's $1.5 million. Again, the wealth for black people ranks dead last amongst ethnicities in the United States of America. We are last.
Yeah.
So now we are starting to get information based on EYL, like that. We are starting to get information on how to wealth build.
Yeah.
Cool. You may not have all of the vehicles set up to wealth build. But for a majority of people, I'm arguing with you that people own houses. And grandparents own houses and mothers own houses, and they're leaving these houses to their kids. So when you start taxing these people at a high clip, 16% to me is too much.
Yeah, see, that's where we disagree. I'm not disagreeing that grandmothers bequeath houses. I'm simply saying that black people are underrepresented on that list.
I know.
And so because we're underrepresented on that list, I'm actually
Mark trying to be nice. Mark trying to be nice. You know what he's trying to say, right? Why you sticking up for white people, bro? Why you sticking up for rich white people, bro? That's what he's saying. That's what Mark is saying. He's trying to be all professional and shit. I got you, son. I got you. Why you sticking up for rich white people, bro?
actually more interested in how tax revenue could be used to invest in us in ways that can get us to where you want to be. Education, all the things that help people be able to access houses and things like that. You know what I mean? And social mobility.
And I think that's all theory. I'm a man that practices practicality, and I don't have no faith in Democrats. I don't have.
Upgrading our education system is theory when it comes to wealth building. Really. Yeah, just keep a nation dumb. That's going to help us in the future.
No faith in Republicans. I don't have no faith in no politicians to take the money and allocate the money accordingly to us to where we could come up off of it. We have.
Bro, anybody that comes up with this bullshit argument about, oh, I don't want to tax tax. I don't want them to take my taxes because they don't know how to govern with it. They don't know how to do this. They don't know how to do that. Okay, I ask them this question. Anybody that has that argument, ask them this question. Be like, okay, hypothetically, right? Let's say they would take 50% of your income, right? 50% of your income, but you know for a fact. And let's say you make 300 grand a year, right? They take half your income. You make 150%. 150,000 in pocket, right? You make 150,000 in pocket, 50% of your income is leaving, right? But you know for a fact, there's no more homeless people in New York City. Every child in New York City is fed, and every old person is fed and taken care of. All three of those things happen, and you know this definitely is going to happen, but they got to take half your income. I bet you they still going to be like, I don't want it. I don't want them to take it. He just said, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Because he wants to keep his money. Ask them that question.
Haven't seen it ever. So again, if my parents leave me some shit that I can tangibly touch, I don't want the state taking it.
No Joe Biden.
Ish is the personification of minorities who vote against their own interests. He is the personification of it, bro. They vote against their own interests all the time. And then with these bullshit arguments, you defending 30,000 people against 8 million. Wow. But anyway, yo, hit me up in the comments. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me if he's right. He could be right. If you think he's right, let me know. I don't think he's right, but if you think he's right, let me know. Like and subscribe if you like the content. And I'll see you next time on the next video.